Hello, Big Ed here. I just got back from the gun range up in Medford with my 1911, Medford, Long Island. And I just want to do a quick video here on cleaning a 1911. I had the 1911 today. I carried it around in this DeSantis. This is, I think, a pocket tuck holster right here inside the waistband holster. I love these things. I have one for my SIG and I have one for my Glock 19. I think these are excellent holsters, except for the 1911. All these edges become very sharp, and you realize how sharp they are when you are carrying this 1911 like this. This is basically a GI model in this holster right here for the duration of the day. And I had it inside my, with the t-shirt over it. My t-shirt was tucked in, and this was on the outside. And this is a very sharp, jagged pistol, especially when you're sitting down. But it's when you're standing up walking around, this is very easy to carry, and the thin profile of a 1911 makes this nice. So let's just start. Let me disassemble this first and just show you guys how I go about cleaning my 1911. Actually, it's blown away. First we'll take out the plunger in front here. See if I can remember how to do this correctly. There we go. You just spin the barrel bushing to, let's see here, counterclockwise, and then you can remove the spring, and then you can just rack the slide back so you can see the slide stop right here. You put in this little groove right there, and that little groove is where the slide stop will come out, and then you can just literally push it out from the other side. It just pops right out. You can see the little groove there, the little tang, and that comes right out, and then the whole pistol will just come apart. And basically today I shot off about 125, 150 rounds of ammunition, and I will do a complete, no, is in the barrel coming out? Oh, this bushing's still in there. And then you got to remove the bushing. The bushing, then you rotate it the other way. That was to take out the spring. Rotate it this way, and the whole bushing and the whole barrel system comes out. And that's it. The gun is field stripped now. Basically, when I just shoot that round count, I just field strip the gun, and I'll clean the gun just like this. I will not take it apart like the mainspring and the trigger and all that stuff, and take the firing spring and the firing pin out and all that kind of stuff. I just will clean it like this, and usually about every 500 rounds, then 600-700 rounds, I'll totally strip the gun apart and give everything a real good cleaning. But this doesn't really get that dirty in here, and you can wipe out most of that stuff in here. So what I'm going to do here is take my lube, and we'll spray everything down and let it soak for a minute. I like letting it soak. It does a lot of the work. Let the spray, let the lubricant do the work for you. It's very wise. You still have to scrub and clean stuff, but the longer you let it sit on there, not enough where it dries out and all run away, but definitely let the pistol, let the metal soak it up. This spray that I'm using here, a lot of guys like Ballistol. I have never used Ballistol myself, but this is made by Birchwood Casey. This spray right here, and this is one of those kind of, one sprays does it all, clean, lubricates, and protects. So we'll let the gun soak for a second here. The spray that I'm using right here, this Birchwood Casey, is interesting. Lubricates, cleans, and protects. This is the magic ingredient in this, the PTFE. That is actually a liquid silicone. I'm a big fan of that. I work in the marine industry, and a lot of people polish their boats with that. And it's a dry lubricant. That's basically what it is. And it makes something very slick, like a lot of racers on sailboats. We'll put it on pulleys. We'll put it on other kind of mechanisms like that, lines going through blocks, pulleys, track sails going in tracks vertically, horizontally, and you literally hit it with the PTFE, and it evaporates, it dries, but it leaves that coating of silicone on, and it makes all the difference in the world. And if it's an application where you can't have you know, a sticky, oily residue like a WD-40 behind, it is perfect. This does leave a residue behind, so you have to wipe it off, but this is very good stuff, and I'm a big fan of PTFE. So basically, I'll just wipe down these little parts right here. You know, the slide stop. This is really easy to clean. Get all the black off, all the carbon. What did I shoot today? I shot some Independence, and I shot some of the Federal Champion, which is really inexpensive stuff. But 45 ACP is pretty expensive. I think they charged me for the box of Independence 230 grain regular hardball. That was, yeah, that's what it is. It was $27.50, which is pretty expensive for 45 ACP. I don't mind buying a box at the range. I don't mind, you know, supporting local businesses. You know, I'll always buy a box of ammo. Whenever I walk into a gun store, I'll buy a box of ammo. I think that's a good habit, or at least buy something, some targets, you know, some cleaning products, something like that. I think it helps a lot. And I'll also try to separate the pieces I've cleaned. This is a good piece. We use a little brush on this little piece to get the little the serrations cleaned. Inside the spring cover, that's pretty clean in there. We'll leave that alone this time. Alright, let's give this barrel a little whack. We already got some lube in there. It's been sitting for a little bit. Take that brass brush. In and out a couple times. What I'll also do with the barrels, if I shoot any lead ammo, which I don't usually shoot, probably also when I really strip this gun apart, I will use this, the bore cleaner too. And this is pretty noxious stuff right there, but it does work very good, or very well. Gun shot very well today. I'm going to post another video of my shooting at the range today. I did some really nice 10-yard groups and a couple pretty good 20-yard groups that I have on video that I will post also, that I'm really pleased with. All right, let's just work with the inside of the barrel right here. And get that clean, and then we'll go to the outside. I actually don't have a one of the plungers for 45 ACP or 44. They're probably both the same. This is a 38-357 one, so I use the big cleaning pad. I need to get one. I always forget whenever I go to one of the stores to buy one, but these big patches will help it work it a lot better. Yeah, that's dirty. Let's hit it with a little more lube. Run it through the other way. Always make sure you want to have some lube on there. That's just your friend. And I can see that's wet now. It's pretty wet. And it'll just kind of, that'll get 90% of it up. And then we'll change to put on a cleaner patch. Yeah, it's got some lube on it. That's good. Let's run through backwards again. It's pretty dirty. Starting to clean up. Do one more. Some of the guys I see like to use frog lube. I see that's kind of, at least on YouTube, I don't know any guys personally using that, but they like to put that on before. I'm not sure what's in frog lube, but I see it is gaining popularity, which is great, and I've heard a lot of good things about it. I'm wondering if that also has Teflon, PTFE, and I have a feeling it probably does, because PTFE, it's kind of like a wax almost. It works kind of the same way. It's basically a protective coating of of Teflon on your firearm. So I'm wondering if frog glue would have that, but that's what this does too. And I just shot this a couple hours ago, so this will clean up pretty nicely. Yeah, it's already pretty, the barrel's pretty good. I'm going to edit this video just a little bit so it's not so long. That's a little boring. You don't need to see me spending 20 minutes to clean a gun. So that's the barrel right there. That's nice and shiny. That's clean now. I'm very happy with that. So next I'll tackle the slide. Slide, I basically mostly use a paper towel. Also I will use a bigger, like this is like a 12 gauge bore brush. Slide this in here. I can get a lot of the garbage out with this. Actually, let me keep this in the camera so you guys can see. And this has been probably soaking on there. The Birchwood Casey lube has been on there already probably for 10-15 minutes. See, it's rubbing right off pretty well. The other thing is, if you do clean your firearm after you shoot it, I'm a big fan of that. I've waited a day or two to do it, like just, you know, I'm sure a lot of people have, and I always try to get it, you know, it's and you pay for it. It takes longer. The stuff is, you know, it has longer to cake on, to sit on the firearm, or to get stuck to the metal more, and it's just a bigger problem to get it off. But it is advisable to do it after you're done using the firearm. Also, a lot of people ask me, do you clean your gun every time you shoot it? Yes, I do. You know, I won't totally take the firearm apart, but I always field strip them, and I always clean them and get all visible junk out of there every time I'm done shooting it. I mean, you spend a lot of money for these, and you know, they'll last forever when I treat them well. I mean, I have guns, you know, from my father, and he's passed away, from my uncle, he's passed away, and especially the ones that I got from my father, those two of those shotguns, they're 40 years old, and they look like they've never been fired. They're unbelievable. Some of those shotguns, we've shot probably 2,000-3,000 rounds through them, shells through them. And they'll last forever. And then, you know, someday I'll be able to hand them down to my kids. But take your time cleaning these things. And, you know, there's not too many cheap firearms out there. And if we buy a good one, you know, good 1911 like this will last you forever. There's no reason why it won't. You might have to replace a barrel bush in here or there, and a couple of main springs, maybe a firing pin spring. That's about it. You know, yeah. Hand it down to a kid someday, they'll probably replace your grips, put on something cool, what they think is cool. But yeah, and it's getting pretty good. There's a little bit in there still. These brushes, I got these 3 brushes. I had these in another video, another eBay thing. But brushes are very good. It's just, you'll figure out what works for you. And every firearm's a little different. A lot of these semi-auto pistols kind of clean the same way. Especially once you get used to cleaning 1911, you realize how many of the new pistols, even though all these people bag on pistols, and how similar a lot of these newer pistols are to a 1911. And the way they all kind of work the same. It's looking pretty good. I see the ejector's getting a little bit of dirt, but it's alright. I'm going to leave it together, and I'll take it apart next time, probably. But yeah, I just got this. I've only shot this gun, I think, 3 times that I've got it back from Springfield, so there's not too much in it. There's not too much going through it. You know, again, the gun was phenomenal today, not one malfunction. I also got some new Wilson Combat magazines. Today was my first time using those. Those work perfect. A lot of people recommend those. Also, I like the Kimber magazines. The The Kimber Magazines treat me well, but I do have 3 of these Wilson Combat magazines now, and these are supposed to be the holy grail of 1911 magazines, plastic followers, and they definitely work great. You could feel the difference when you load them, especially, and put that big 230 grain ball in there. You can definitely, I like 45 ACP ammo. It's nice. It feels good to load. It fits well in my hand. It's easy to load in these magazines, and those magazines are definitely smooth. They feel like nice, well-engineered magazines. There you go. Barrel bushing's clean now. That's new from Springfield. The barrel's clean. Just about there. All right, what I'll do is I'll pause this again and start it back up. I'm just going to clean out the actual gun part right here, and we'll flip it back on in a second. All right, just finishing up cleaning up the 1911 right here. As you see, I pretty much got the actual gun pretty clean here. Pretty happy with it. And again, it performed very well today. 100%, actually not very well, performed perfect. No problems at all. No stovepipes, no failures to feed, nothing. It cycled everything I put through it. And so I'm very pleased with that. The other thing about this 1911 that is kind of funny is the grips loosen up on me, the grip screws. And so I've noticed they're loose right now. I'm going to go ahead and, yeah, that one was loose. Tighten it just a little bit. These are real wood, and those are the Springfield grips, and I bought those off eBay for $40. This one I can feel is loose. That's about a quarter of a turn. Ooh, that's about a full turn right there. And I'm very careful how I tighten them. Is if you over tighten screws in wood, you'll split the wood. I don't want to split a pair of $40 grips. Doesn't seem like much, but just to split it. And so I'd rather tighten them a little bit every time than over tighten them and risk splitting that. Also, with the change of seasons with moisture in the air, the wood will swell. And right now it's summer and it is raining outside, so you want to be careful. But I do tighten the grips on my 1911 probably every time I shoot it. I bet, because the screws do loosen up. So let's put this back together now. All right, we have the slide right here. Everything's clean. It's got a coat of lube on it. Put the barrel back into the slide. Let it lock up. Put the guide rod back in there. Actually, guide rod. How's this going here? There we go. Just drop the guide rod in there. And that's it. So then we'll just take it. Sometimes you gotta jiggle that guide rod. Oops. Oh, whoops, the guide rod came out. There we go. There we go. So let's line up our little holes right here. You can see we're lined up with that little indentation. The big one is the actual slide stop. That's the one to take the gun apart. Let's just wipe off these prints. Stainless steel. I love stainless steel. Okay, make sure. Also, putting this back together, the barrel's got the attachment, the little loop underneath it. You have to make sure that's in there. I can see it in there. And basically, you just make sure you can see through there, and I can see the little loop down there. So that the slide stop, that pin has to go right through that little loop. This is also where a lot of people make mistakes. You can see the previous owner, it's called the idiot scratch. That scratch going right up there. You don't want to do that. You want to be very careful. So I got it in there, and that's it right there. So let's finish assembling it. Mainspring. The barrel bushing. Rack it a couple times. Feels good. It's empty. Dry fire it. Gun feels good, gun looks good, it's clean. Another good day with the Springfield 1911. Nice and clean. Again, Birchwood Casey gunner, I like that stuff, you know. If the gun's dirtier, if I shoot it more, if I don't clean it the next day, I might throw a little, you know, the bore cleaner solution on it. But that's basically it right there. It's ready to be put away now, put to bed. Till next time. Well, thanks for watching, guys. Any questions, post them below, and definitely check out my other videos. I have a good review of this pistol right here, of this 1911, doing some good shooting with it. So definitely check it out.